I'd like to call the meeting to order, please.
Roll call.
Yeah. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mrs. Galbraith?
Here.
Mr. Teray?
Here. You would pay it for it.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. Gasparo?
Here.
Secretary's aye. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have up first, good news report, back to school event. Wow, is that just going to do it? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I was just going to-
Yeah, they keep switching it around.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have a slideshow?
As the slideshow sets up, or as we prepare the slideshow, I have to say, as always, that we have an amazing school district with an amazing community and amazing parents, but most importantly, we have amazing employees, and even more importantly than that, we have amazing students. Early in the summer, an idea was brought to me that, hey, we need to do a back-to-school event. So a small committee of folk got together to make this thing happen. I'm very appreciative to the committee members that assisted, the administration of this school, all of the principals and employees from other schools, and goodness, our school board came out and worked like crazy and danced like crazy. We couldn't get pictures of everyone, but we got pictures of as many people as we could. It was an amazing event. We want to share a little bit of that with you. So if we can roll it, please. Turn it up. Can we get some volume? And can we pull the lights down just a little bit?
Everyone give it up for the Warriors with the Crete Monee High School fight song.
Oh, I think we're starting over.
You did.
But more importantly than clapping for this, I think we owe our community and ourselves a wonderful round of applause. In one of the slides, you saw that it said, in quotation, it said, "use up." And that's a moniker that our athletic teams have taken, and it's probably echoed throughout this building quite a bit. And it's something that when you really think about it, it really defines who we are. The U is actually from Crete, Monee, our unit district, but I think of it as unity because we, in that slideshow, you saw all of our communities come together with a common goal, and that it was just to celebrate our students and celebrate the start of a new year. The Parade of Champions was a tremendous success. We didn't keep a clicker counter, but I'm going to estimate well over 1,000 people attended. We served free hot dogs and snow cones, and we danced and we put everyone in trash bags and jumped up and down the field. We had a few minor giveaways. Our fall activities came and paraded, and it was just amazing. So special thanks to each one of you, the superintendent, the cabinet, the school board, because many of you worked, and I mean up to our elbows in blue goo from the snow cone machine, sweating over the hot dogs, keeping the party going, helping me DJ and MC. Just thank you guys so much, and it's such an honor. Thank you to the staff, and Ms. Jones, I'm gonna call you out, and Ms. Perkins, I'm gonna call you out as well. They came to just say hello and ended up to their elbows in ice cream. So thank you guys. What an amazing, amazing event. But more importantly, we have to appreciate our students and celebrate the successes. Not one student got 1 penny for being there. Some of our kids didn't even get a chance to eat. They just came to give and to share their talents. So next time you see one of those little jokers, one of those little boogers running around, just give them some love and say, thank you for being a champion for this school district. So thank you guys so much. And that's the beginning of our good news report for the high school. And the second part of the good news report for the high school is our curriculum night. Our curriculum night was absolutely amazing here. We had two things. One was the back to school freshman night, where we saw over 90% of our freshman families. And then the curriculum night, we saw a couple of thousand people as well. We packed that gym out pretty well, and we had parents, and we discussed everything, all the new things that are happening here, all the wonderful, what I would call praise reports of amazing things happening here at Crete Monee High School. I believe it was very well received. The overall message of the night was educating children is our job, but it's the parents' responsibility. And we welcome parents in here to ensure that their children get the best education possible. Again, on behalf of my staff, it's an honor to serve the parents, and it's one of my goals to make sure that parents feel welcome when they come in this building, because we're going to treat them with courtesy, kindness, dignity, and respect every time they come in this building. So that's beyond an expectation. That is what is in practice in this building. And the curriculum night was amazing. We had a lot of thick, rich discussion. We talked a lot about our math initiatives. We talked a lot about our technology usage, and we talked a lot about just the overall expectations of the building. So again, I commend the Crete Monee High School staff in its entirety, especially the teachers who work tirelessly to ensure that every parent receive the platinum customer service that this district is expected. Our community deserves it, and our children deserve it as well.
I want to thank you, Dr. Harden, for your energy and your undivided attention. Thank you. Any board members like to comment on the good news report? I thought he was going to have a part 3, but cut it off. Board member Jennifer?
I don't think I'll ever get the blue goo out from underneath my fingernails. It was a fabulous time. My kids had a wonderful time, and I definitely also want to make sure I thank Ms. Perkins and Mrs. Jones for their help. They showed up and said, you know, what do you need help with? And I stuck them on the ice. So that was me, and I thank you very much.
All right. Secretary?
Again, wonderful evening, great opportunity to partake with friends of the community. Really, really excited to get my heyday back with those cheerleaders. I might have been sore another day after, but it was a good thing, a good time. And just want you to be encouraged to keep up the good work as it relates to that. Again, I think it's wonderful that the community, not just people who were from the school and around the school were there just to see what was going on in and around Crete Monee School District. So I take my hat off to you and your staff for a wonderful job in ensuring that we bridge the gap as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Janine?
I again would like to say it was a great event. I wish I would have been able to partake more, but the hot dogs and the snow cone queen grabbed me, and so we did not get to partake in all the events, but it sure looked like fun, and I do know that people were very appreciative and are looking forward to the next one. So thank you very much.
Board Member Teray?
Hi, unfortunately, I was unable to attend, had some medical issues, but next year I will be there and we'll have some fun. And I'm snow cones? I'm on snow cones. Okay, good. All right, very nice. Thank everybody.
Superintendent?
I'd just like to thank the community for coming out and thank the administration for the support. Even those who were not able to make it out made sure that the information got out to their kids and to their parents. They got those. We had so many people show up. It was just an outstanding event for our community, and a great time was had by all. I loved the three-legged races, the sack races that we had. The kids loved it. They got little prizes. It was just a great time. And I thank you, and Dr. Harden, great job.
And again, I share those and echo those comments by my colleagues and the superintendent as well. Dr. Harden, you bring a level of energy that's well received throughout the community. And I don't believe I saw that you had your Superman outfit on, so I'm awaiting for that. So keep up the good work with you and your entire staff. I have nothing but good things to say when you invoke yourselves on events like this. So keep it up. The community needs it. We want it. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move into public comments. And I have just one public comment over here. Is that all? Okay. I ask that our secretary read the public comment, please.
It's from Leslie Anello, and the question or comment rather is the band program and lack of busing for 5th grade and/or lack of equipment. Come forward.
And again, during the public comments, we ask that you respect the board as well as the audience. And we're not here to have you just agree with everything we do. So we are willing to listen to all the good things as well as the bad things. We just ask for respect. Thank you.
Of course.
All right.
You asked.
Yeah, I'm actually here, and this is my daughter Madeline, and I'm a band booster president. We've lived in the community for 18 years, and Madeline's attended school in the Crete School District since kindergarten. But I am concerned, and we could have left it be, we're leaving. This is her last year, but I am concerned about the 5th grade band busing This is the second year, as I understand it, that we still don't have an agreement resolved, to my knowledge, or to the band booster knowledge, or to the parents, to accommodate the fifth grade band program. That's our foundation. This is our second year. So last year, the busing just commenced at the end of the year. So I'm concerned about that. And also, I'm also concerned that our band is not treated as an educational program. It's a graded subject, with wind ensemble even being an honors program in the high school level. Our students, and Madeline, I just want her to speak to this a little bit more so you understand how the students feel, not just how the parents feel. Because it's a shame when we're going to competition and we're playing with broken drumsticks, we lack uniforms, we lack gloves, and things like that. So I would just, we just wanted to bring this to the board's attention and to the administration's attention. And actually, we're having a booster event in the band room now. So Madeline just stepped out of her band performance, which is kind of taking her by surprise, but.
We almost had to cancel our Northwestern band day thing because we couldn't get the music that we needed and we couldn't buy it in time. And we got it like about a week before we had to go there. So we hardly had any time to prepare for it because we couldn't buy it in time. And we can't wear the uniforms that we needed or the uniforms that we bought or the new ones because we don't have enough because we couldn't buy them all for the amount of band members that we have. And we have broken sticks for the percussion that they have to keep taping up because we don't have the money to buy new sticks for them. And it's also their performance sticks are their practice sticks, so there is no separation. So they're playing with the broken sticks still.
And I just want to call it to the board's and the administration's attention that when our students do perform at these events, they're competing against other schools from all over the state. And it is embarrassing when we look schlunky and sloppy, and we just are not able to compete with these other schools. So hopefully the board and the administration will address our concerns. This is kind of a last minute thing since we were having an event and I decided to pop over instead of serving hot dogs. So I don't know if I got the good end of the deal or the bad end, but I just wanted to call it to your attention and thank you.
Well, okay.
I'd like, ma'am, before you leave, I want to ask a clarification question. Who is, and maybe you don't know the answer, maybe Dr. Harden, who's running the show with the band? Who's in charge? Who's in charge of the band? Who's the regular crew chief with the band program? Tedeki still? Okay. Have these issues been brought to your attention, sir?
Yes, sir. We have there's different things with the ordering process, and I can share with you in an individual setting. I can share with you, ma'am, some flashes of different things. Sometimes we can get orders late. It might not.
Okay. Would you please give me a call tomorrow? I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for you and your daughter.
Ma'am, before you go, Mrs. Anello, so just in reading your comment, I just want to clarify, there's a lack of busing for fifth grade, which is a separate issue, and your daughter is a high schooler, so there's a high school band issue as well for lack of equipment. Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure if you know the process for addressing your concerns, and we are going to give your comments to our superintendent. And I see you have your email right here. And could you explain to her the process?
We will send an answer back to you. Most likely with this question, though, I would like Dr. Harden to be able to sit down and talk to you about a couple of those. But the comments will be available on the actual, kind of like they're coming up here now from other questions that we had. They'd be here, available here and on our website. And if you have any questions or anything else after we send them out, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Thank you.
And this is such an easy fix, in my opinion. If there's no further public comments, we're going to move into the meat of our meeting here. Moving on with our agenda, do we have any board updates in any manner?
Okay, we do have some updates. One, as of last month's meeting, we did settle for those who didn't remain in attendance. We came to we reached a decision for October 13th as our community forum. We want to advise you as well that we have worked tirelessly in conjunction with our superintendent and his administrative team to push forward the state of the district newsletter. It's a newsletter and description of all that has taken place at Crete Monee 201U. And I guess it's his summation, rather, of the state of the district. And it is going out to not just parents of the district, but the entire Crete, Monee, Park Forest, University Park areas of interested taxpayers and stakeholders. So they will be receiving this in a mailing somewhere in or about the 29th of September. It will be asked of the schools, each school, to include this in their newsletters for additional marketing and publication of this forthcoming state of the district. And again, it's the board's opportunity, as well as the superintendent's, to share information from the district's voice, not the voices of whomever, but the information that the district wants to disseminate and should disseminate to our taxpayers as a whole. There seems to be a lot of concern and question, and particularly those who have concerns about upcoming building initiatives and don't quite understand all of the financial impact and or some of the promising things that we look forward to with the school district. So look forward to that. And again, I know I see a lot of principals here and administrators. We hope that you will encourage parents to attend the community forums. It's not enough to, in my opinion, to come to the board meeting necessarily when we're angry, but to be a part of the discussion when we have an opportunity to converse back and forward. So that's that opportunity on October 13th. It will be held in Monee, at Monee Elementary School. So the more, the merrier, and we invite you to come out. Secondly, we have been working tirelessly, consistently rather, on transparency for years, but most specifically this month, we made it a point to, there's concern and frustration, at least, that we don't have a back and forth dialogue at this particular business meeting. So again, people come, they ask questions. We have the responsibility to ask clarifying questions, not necessarily to go back and forth. And in such, we have come up with a plan that allows for each of the questions that are asked here to be publicized both here today and at every board meeting, as well as on the internet, the webpage, the school district website. And this again affords you, there's not one parent who has one question. Many parents may have the same question, but not necessarily showed up at the board meeting, or decided to send the information to board members. And it's okay either way, but those comments will be posted here. during this meeting. They will also be posted on your website. So it doesn't matter who asked the question will be answered, asked and answered by us to every person who is interested and willing to read our response and or comments. Did I miss anything? Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Board Member Sanders, for getting that out to the public. Was appreciative. I was able to obtain some information that I did not know as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Any further updates by the board? If not, we're going to move right into the administrative updates, starting with student affairs.
Thank you. Good evening. The following Freedom of Information requests have been received. The first one is from Dr. Morgan Polakop out of the University of Southern California, requesting copies of public records that detail all adopted mathematics and science textbooks that are currently used in the district, including the title, publisher, grade span, adoption year, and version. An electronic response was sent on August 19th, and the response included the requested documents. Next is Tammy Burnham, requesting graduation rates for the last 3 school years. An electronic response was sent on August 13th, and the response included the requested information. Thomas Hart from the Illinois Education Association, requesting the names of all non-certified support staff employed in Crete Monee School District 201U, excluding those already represented by an IEA-affiliated local. Subsequent sections of the request include job titles, date of hire, and so forth. Likewise, these apply only to the non-certified support staff referenced above. An electronic response was sent on August 26th, and the response included the requested information. Lee Zimmerman of Midwest Stencil Company. The request is for the contract for gym t-shirts and gym shorts, names of all bidders for t-shirts and shorts, price each bidder submitted for t-shirts and shorts, the bidder who won the bid along with their cost for t-shirts and shorts, shipping costs, and delivery time promised by the winner of the contract. There were no documents responsive to this specific request. However, a revision of the requested information was provided. Karen Hav of Cornerstone Media, requesting copies of original bank statements for the months of April, May, June, July, and August of 2015 that show all expenditures, purchases, or charges made on those cards or accounts. An electronic response was sent on September 1st, and the response included the requested information. Brenda Messick, requesting a copy of the most recent annual life safety report done by the Regional Office of Education and a copy of the 10-year life safety report done by the Regional Office of Education. An electronic response was sent on September 2nd, and the response included the requested information. Lastly, we have Beretta Rice Yancey of the DuPage County NAACP requesting a discipline handbook or information that is available to parents pertaining to discipline and policies from early childhood, elementary, middle, high school, and alternative schools. 2009 through 2014 statistical information on the number of students who were suspended, expelled, arrested at school, and referred to an alternative school or special needs program categorized by race, age, gender, grade, and offense. 2014 through 2015 data on number of employees in the district categorized by gender, race, salary, and title and role. 2014 through 2015 data on the number of board members in the district categorized by gender and race. a list of programs being used to improve discipline at all grade levels, such as PBIS, and lastly, a list of Black history curriculum being taught at all grade levels. An electronic response was sent on September 8th. The response included the requested information. The results of the FOIA requests and responses are posted to the district website under Board of Education FOIA response. And that concludes our FOIA for this month.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent of Student Affairs, Ms. Spence. Any questions? If not, we're going to move right into the
Ms.
business.
Spence, excuse me one second. Typically, it wasn't that one of the slides that you had, the FOIA lists your response?
No, it's not usually posted up there, not on the display. It is posted on the website, however. Well, these will be posted as of tomorrow morning.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you. No further questions or comments, and thank you for it. It seemed like there was a lot of effort to, particularly this particular information requested during this time, a lot of effort put forth to obtain that information. So thank you very much. Let's move on to the administrative updates as regarding to business. Dr. Williams.
Good evening. Included in your packet is an informational report regarding the 3-year contract for garbage disposal services with Republic. As you may recall, the board approved the 3-year agreement contingent on successful negotiation. I am pleased to report that we were able to negotiate a price freeze for the 2nd and 3rd year of the agreement. This concludes the update, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have at this time.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much again it's always good news to get discounts and decreases and things of that nature. So thank you for working on the school district behalf to make that happen. Now let's get them to continue to pick up the garbage. Any questions for Dr. Williams regarding this issue or topic? Okay, if not, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Ms. Hurst, you look like you're up with a whole lot of things here. Thank you.
Ms. Hurst, before we get started, you do want the board to go ahead and be down in the front so that they can see, right?
Okay.
Okay, we have a presentation for you, sir. If we'd all adjourn to the.
Are we going to have
audience.
dinner, sir? Because
No,
this is
no
quite a
dinner,
few
sir.
things.
Just a presentation.
Okay, I'm going to go mobile this year instead of standing up, and it helps me because I can see the entire slide from back here. This is our annual academic report, and it's a time when we go over some of our district data, And I'm going to start first by talking to you about the new Illinois Balanced Accountability Model. And then we're going to look at some key district achievement indicators. And then finally, we'll move into the district vision and the school improvement plans. The first thing is the Illinois Balanced Accountability +1 strategies for student success. All of our buildings are conducting classroom walkthroughs using the instructional practices inventory. Everybody's got something in their plan about their intervention program and how they're working that program. And then all of our leadership teams will be doing a book study around something instructional. Everybody has a lot in their plans around the idea of teams and teams that are looking at data, making decisions, setting goals, and monitoring student growth. And then the last goal that's in all of the school improvement plans is around climate, and everybody is focusing their actions around the implementation of our PBIS program. And then the last part of the presentation, and again, this presentation will also be posted to the website, are just some resources that you may be interested in. Our district assessment schedule is posted at that link. Also, the State Board of Education has what they call hot topics for the school year on that link, and it'll talk about everything from park to teacher evaluation to everything that's happening at their level. And then I've given you the link to park so you can see what's happening there. If you're interested in school data, not only our district but other districts, you can find data for all schools in the state on both of those sites, Illinois Report Card and the Illinois Interactive Report Card. And the last one I put on there is the Next Generation Science Standards, because that test is that's our next thing that's coming, and we've already started with curriculum work, K-5, Next Gen Science curriculum work is starting this year, so that's an inquiry-based program. It's hands-on science, kids doing science, not knowing science, but doing science. And if anyone would like to take a look at those standards, that's where you can find them. So, does anyone have questions or comments? I'd be happy to answer.
Have you determined what is going to be the measurement tool for the seal of biliteracy?
The question was the measurement tool for the seal of biliteracy. The seal of biliteracy is awarded based on either an AP score or the English portion of the ACT for one, and then our classes will have to give a second language proficiency test as part of their curriculum. So they have to score a certain point on both of those tests.
Decided what because I understood it was supposed to be nationally normed.
It is
the
national norm test for the foreign language portion of it is a test through ACTFL, which is the foreign language group, and that will be their assessment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Laura, can you point out, when we looked at the map improvement in 6th grade, and it was a large improvement, and then when you go to 7th grade, we talked about that in our education committee. Can you explain the 90-minute blocks and then the changes in 7th grade, please?
Absolutely. Let me get back here. And this is something as Mrs. Gasparo said, we've noticed this for quite a few years, that our 6th grade center has really wonderful performance. They had great performance on ISAT. You can see their MAP scores. I mean, they're way above the projected growth, and their percentages are probably the highest in the district at 76% of students meeting their projections. Part of what we attribute this to is the fact that they have 90 minutes of reading and math every day, plus they do an intervention period. It's a single grade school, kind of all hands on deck. They're focused on that grade level. And then our students transition to the middle school. And when they get to the middle school, their instructional time in reading and math goes from 90 minutes to 45. And part of it is transition to a new school. And then the other piece to it is that the intervention program, as I mentioned, is not as solidly in place there, because that's part of what we need to negotiate about, but it's not an everyday type of thing like it is at the sixth grade center. So one of the things this year we've done a couple of things, and you'll notice it in the middle school plan. First of all, we added Achieve 3000, which is a nonfiction component to reading. We added that to seventh grade reading classes. The other thing that we're working on, because students take, it's a 90-minute block in sixth grade, but if you really look at seventh grade, they have a 90-minute block. They just have 45 minutes of reading and 45 minutes of writing. Where at the sixth grade center, the reading and writing is in that 90-minute block. So we've got two teachers teaching that. One teaches reading, one teaches writing. And we're working with the curriculum to make sure that the sequence of writing then goes to reading. So once I teach a type of writing in my writing class, then the reading teacher reinforces it, because we know that writing in response to reading improves reading. So we want to make the connections between our reading and writing classes stronger. And I think the other thing that's going to help seventh grade is really this year, the intervention program, they call it RAMP, Reading and Math Progress. I was at their training the other day. But it's really focused a lot more this year on skills, as opposed to, maybe students who needed to make up work, were failing tests. This is really focused around skills. And if students can, master the skills, their scores should go up. So we're working on that this year. And then as we make the transition to the 6-8 school, any transitions that will happen in terms of scheduling will happen then.
Excuse me, I have a question
Stand by
for
my
you.
people here.
What kind of jumped out at me was when you were comparing these other schools, and we're at the 29%.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at the one next to it, and they're at 47%.
Yes.
What are you doing to pick their brain to find out what they're doing that they're 20% higher than us? What are we learning from them, and are we sharing information to see if we can implement whatever they're doing to bring our kids up, because they're obviously doing a great job, and so.
I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Harden, because he actually did an advanced ed visit to the 47% school, and he had some takeaways from that visit that he's very interested in implementing.
Good. Come on down, the price is right.
The school at 47% is not very far from here. Lots of the school is. It rhymes with H and ends with F. I am very interested in being the best Crete Monee High School we can be, and the best 201U we can be, without comparing ourselves. But I'll tell you this. Couple things. One, we are very transparent and honest in all of our reports and who we are reporting, and we don't turn any students away, where other districts are a little not as transparent. I was fortunate to sit on an advanced ed accreditation visit, meaning I was there with a group of educators from around the state and our national accreditation agency. We spent 3 days there. We went through every piece of data that school had. And what I learned is we're doing some awesome and amazing things here. I would say, Mr. Teray, one of the big differences is, it's twofold. One, it's the legacy of education that they bring. What I mean by that is a lot of the parents there are college educated, and the grandparents were college educated. I'm not saying that uneducated parents don't have children that can achieve. I'm just saying that there has been a generational value placed on education that we're working on in our communities, and that we will continue to work on. And we're doing that by building our parental knowledge base. That's one of the biggest takeaway I had was we have to get our parents and our communities very well educated about what happens in a school, and build the expectation for our parents and communities to, again, hey, parents, it's your responsibility to work with the school. Now, it's the school's responsibility to welcome you once you get in. As far as, and I'm not being sarcastic when I say this, as far as 3 magic beans, they don't have the 3 magic beans, and we'll catch them really soon. I can't say we're going to catch them today or tomorrow, but we're trending in the correct direction. If you look at the score from the one school that rhymes with H and ends with a different letter, they're leveling out and we're headed up. We will catch up to where they are. There are a lot of other things that we've taken away. Some of their data, the way that they pull data, the way that they use data, we've brought some of that home. The idea of a in-house transitional program, we've brought that home. We've been looking at some of the hires that we've made to make sure that we are hiring the best and putting them in the best situation. One thing that this slide doesn't show is another piece of data that we have is when it comes to advanced placement classes, we have doubled everyone else in the community. I mean, am I saying that correctly? We have twice as many students earning advanced placement college credit than any other school on that list, including the one with 47%. Approximately, I'm going to say over 20% of our students leave here with college credit. 100% of our students have an opportunity to earn some kind of credit, be it at the Kankakee Area Career Center or Prairie State or in-house with our advanced placement testing.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're on top of it.
Thank you.
Dr. Harden, I want to clarify something. With the
Yes, ma'am.
advanced placement, that was a question I had. The placement of students, I remember when, what was it, Lord? Where is she? Oh, 2000, probably 2 years ago when we said it's not enough, we didn't have a real rigorous plan for that program. So then we saw a rise and an increase in students being, for one, offered the opportunity to have placement in it. Here's what I want to know. When you offer students, let's just say, because I hear you guys around here use the term kind of like a kid that's on a certain track. And so what often has concerned me is that if we don't offer the AP classes, so we start offering it sophomore, sophomore, junior year.
We have freshmen now.
Freshman, okay,
Yes,
and then
ma'am.
we stop. In other words, they go into the guidance office and, you know, maybe you didn't fare so well. I wonder, do we have data that shows when you started as a freshman and you continued on? Because it seems to me that we're not consistent with offering it. And then the next year, you don't even get offered an AP class. You're on to something, hey, let's go to honors, not necessarily AP. So how do we, so that we can yield a final result in the end, AP freshman and sophomore, keeping kids on a consistent track to see a higher yield and success at the end of the senior year, if you will? What are you guys doing to improve that?
You know, I don't want to get, Ms. Sanders, I don't want to give you a bad answer. I don't want to make anything up off, I don't want to, you know.
But you'll get the answer.
I will get the answer and I'll get it to you as soon as possible. We are doing things, but I don't want to stand here and give you a bad answer for the sake of answering your question.
Okay.
Or I don't want to tell a lie.
I respect that.
I will research it. I'll find out exactly, and I'll give you a list of interventions and the list of things that we are doing.
Okay.
Dr. Harden, while you're there and answering questions, one of the things that we didn't see in the report here is about is the work that you guys are doing at Prairie State. And I think it would be important for the community that we have here, for your educators behind you, and for the board to hear how well we're doing at Prairie State and how we're compared.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to put Ms. Hannigan on the spot. And I know you don't want to talk, but come on down, Ms. Hannigan. Ms. Hannigan's assistant principal of academic affairs. Say that right? Of all things academics in the high school. I can answer this question, but she can give much more concise and clear answers to the board and to the community. Let me say this about Prairie State. It's easy for us to acknowledge our dual credit earners that are college track, but I don't want to take away from the other two very important things: enrolled, enlisted, and employed. We have some amazing things happening in Kankakee as well that are leading our students to employment, and they're earning dual credit at Kankakee Area Career Center and Prairie State College. Now, I'm going to call up Ms. Hannigan and do a little bit of talking specific to your question, sir.
Sure. Our Prairie State program we've had now for about, it's been four years maybe. We were the first high school within our area to actually start a program where our high school students their senior year attended college. We currently have about 60 students who attend. We've had that the past 2 years. And those students will leave their senior year with about 18 college credits done by the end. And so they have their first year of college essentially finished, and they have then just 3 more to go at no financial cost to them, which is very nice. And all the students thus far have been very successful. Their grades are great. Prairie State commends us all the time for the students that we send to them, how they're very well prepared, how they wish they had more of them, and that they're actually a great example for a lot of the other students who attend school there as well. It creates a nice dynamic, a different dynamic than they've had before. And it's also good, it's a great experience for our students. They comment, it's a little different for them attending school with other students who aren't their age, and so it's a great learning experience. But something else that I'd like to mention, actually, our in-house dual credit program is very good. Currently, we have a website design course, a computer applications, accounting, and small business management that all count for college credit, and the students take them here. And the school that Dr. Hardin mentioned, our dual credit enrollment numbers exceed all of the other schools within our same district, our district that attends Prairie State anyway. So we're doing a great job. And then we also additionally have the Career Center kids who earn dual credit depending on the program of study that they're in. And I think that covers about all of them.
I think it's, I believe I read when I was looking at the PowerPoint from Dr. Nays at Prairie State, that between Crete, Monee, and Kankakee, the Kankakee programs that our students attend down there, our students have an opportunity to earn dual credit in 15 different courses.
And we're very excited. This is the first year that sophomore students in-house can earn dual credit. And if some legislation changes, freshmen will be eligible, hopefully very soon, to earn dual credit as well. They're already in the same course, doing the same coursework. There's just there's some rules that have to change a little bit before they can earn some dual credit as well.
I have one question for you. How do the students get chosen for those programs? Do they apply? How does that work for those programs?
They're all a little different. KACC is very open. It's anybody who's interested in the programs that they offer there. The only stipulation is that they're on track to graduate. As far as dual credit in-house, the same thing. These are all courses that are available to any student. Prairie State is a touch different. Those students have to have a 3.0 GPA and then also have some type of placement score so that they can place into credit-bearing classes to show that they're ready for that level of coursework, because we certainly wouldn't want to set them up for any type of failure their senior year if they're not quite ready, so they would stay behind then.
Before you get away, you tried to get the Kankakee question answered real quickly, and I'm not going to let you get away that fast. I would like you to talk to the board about, you talked about your, enrolled, enlisted, and employed, and Kankakee really fulfills that setting for employed. What do they offer down there? I know what they offer, but they need to know what's being offered to our kids.
Sure. I don't know that I'll remember all of them off the top of my head, but for sure there's a CNA program. They have cosmetology, they have welding, they have criminal justice, they have fire science, auto shop. They also have a computer business type class. Most of our students take that in-house. That's not one that they go as often there. But what's unique about them too is they have different credentials that the students can earn in those courses or certificates, and that makes it a little bit different than the Prairie State program currently, or even the dual credit that we have here. So students who enroll in cosmetology will have a cosmetology license when they're finished. Students will have a CNA license when they're finished with the program, which is really nice.
State, and what's the number of students enrolled in the Kankakee course?
Actually, I'd have to look that up for you. We're about in the same area, but for sure I can get that information for you.
Yes, it is right about 60 with that as well. What we've typically done is load up a bus. Bus holds 55-ish. I've spoken with the superintendent, and I love the idea of college education. I love what Prairie State is offering. I think that we certainly need to continue that partnership relationship and what we're doing for our students there. But that Kankakee, there's some magic happening down there for students that are not taking the traditional college route, we can really get them down there earning some certificates and making them into productive citizens and taxpayers, and at the same time getting them a high school diploma as well as a certificate. So with that, that's something that we've discussed. The superintendent and I have a meeting scheduled down in Kankakee just to go down and tour the facility and look at it and talk a little bit more about some of the offerings, and can we get some of those offerings here, or do we need to load up a second bus to see if we can get them moving? I looked two different places, one bus, one money. Neither one of them looked at me, but to see what it would take to get some additional students down there. Just imagine we have approximately 400 seniors. What if we had 400 of them moving in a direction that would prepare them for their next step of life? And that's what we really want to do here.
And I don't know, I'll speak strictly for myself, having attended vocational school. It is extremely important for us to support measures that would allow, we didn't call it enrolled, enlisted, or employed, but at the end of the day, we had work study, and it afforded us the opportunity. I remember taking shorthand, and nothing I use today, but the idea that I had that under my belt and upon graduation could work as a secretary or what have you. And I think that's very important, because it's not enough to, it's okay to work at Culver's and McDonald's, but to start a process where you can actually go into your field or, get some foundation. So I would love to hear at least what you guys have planned. And again, I understand transportation, but I think as we keep saying, whatever it is that we invest in these students, at the end of the day, the money is going to be well spent. I can't imagine who it is that's going to argue the point, oh my God, you're going to pay for another bus. Because it seems to me too, if students are not necessarily engaged in the stationary, everyday kind of alignment that happens, some kids learn differently, and it's not necessarily as appealing for them to sit in the classroom, listen to a lecture, and they may just be more hands-on and need to do some of these things. So, and we realize everyone is not attending college anymore. So we have to meet the needs, and that's would be hopefully a sign of us educating, what's our motto, educating world-class learners. That's the true definition of that. So very appreciative of that, and I hope you guys can share with us at a later point the numbers and of course even the criteria. You explained it a little bit, Mrs. Hannigan, for Prairie State, and then my colleague Ms. Gasparo kind of confirmed that Prairie State has to work out some things perhaps to allow us to offer more students acceptance, is that what you said? In the dual credit. So even with Kankakee, just what are the criteria? If you guys maybe share that, Mr. Cunningham, if you'd share that with us at a later
We'll be glad to. We could go over the Compass test. Isn't that what they take? Compass before they go in?
Yes, they take the Compass test, but actually at Prairie State, I just learned at a meeting I was at that the Compass test is going away, and they have to select a new assessment for measurement, and they haven't done that yet. So right now, it was the Compass test and a 3.0, and they do currently limit the number of students that we can send to the early college program, partially because they like to make sure they keep an equal dynamic in the classroom, not too many high school students, as opposed to other enrolled students that are there. So they've limited us, and plus other high schools are sending students as well. So they are kind of keeping the numbers at bay a little bit. But we're hoping that that increases, because I'm sure we can get that up.
I would ask you to give a call to my alma mater, Chicago Vocational High School. I went through there a few years ago on a reunion for my 200th year graduation. They actually have an LPN class, licensed practical nurse. They come out at 18 years of age with an LPN license, and that's a lot more money than a CNA. And they're making money right out of high school with that, and they're doing it in-house. And I asked them twice. I said, am I hearing this right? And they said yes, that they're actually coming out with an LPN. And Chicago Vocational is a little different. They're doing 3 or 4 hours of majoring in a shop, they call it. But those kids are ready at 18 to come out as an LPN and go to work. You know, and that's a ticket to RN and getting the BSN, and you know, it's something we can look into. And I don't know the cost, but it's all in-house, and they're doing it in Chicago. So.
CVS in the house, huh?
CVS.
Lane Tech in the house.
Lane Tech? We won't discuss Lane Tech.
Crete, Monee in the house.
That's right.
Dr. Harden.
That's right.
Dr. Harden, I would just ask that the information that you're providing to Mrs. Sanders, I would also like to see, and I bet the other board members.
I will share it to the entire
So
board.
make sure it comes to all of us.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to point out one thing. I've already talked to Ms. Hannigan about this. The dual credit program is one that's a very difficult thing to bring in-house, because any of the faculty members that teach the dual credit courses have to be eligible to teach at the community college level. And there's a whole bunch of criteria in order to bring that program in-house. And there are several area schools that feed into Prairie State District 515, where I am on the Business Advisory Committee, and we have 2 business classes that we teach dual credit. And I think it's important for the public to know that out of all of the feeder schools, we are the only school that was approved to have both courses in-house. No other school in the area was approved for both courses. Some were not approved for any, and I'm talking about all of the schools that feed into District 515. So that's an accomplishment in itself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hold on. Did we save the best for last? Or
Oh, yeah.
No.
No, I was saying, thank you for that compliment. That's
Oh,
a
okay.
compliment.
I thought you was trying to
No, not
end this
not-
process.
This is your meeting.
You must
I
think
was
you're a
saying thank you.
superintendent or something. All right, any more further questions or comments from the board members? Great.
We might not have any of them. I'm back to Laura. Mrs. Hirsch, I had a question on the scoring. So, you know, we take all these assessments. Particularly, I'm starting with our lower grades. I heard you say, and I'm familiar with the Excel Edge, and I think I asked you last time we sat here if we were going to receive data that indicates that that particular program, which if my memory serves me, we've had at least for 6 to 7 years, what result has been yielded as a result of having it here. And only because, again, I look at, you know, what you've shown us as the strides, where we, I don't know, I can't even say where we were, but since I've been sitting here watching these updates year after year, just what that's doing for us, Excel Edge in specific. So, pardon the pun, because I don't know what an alternative to Excel Edge would be, but another program, and what would it do for our students? When we, you know, it seems like at the older or the mature ages or high school levels, or maybe even middle school, we make a concerted effort to say, okay, this testing is really important because it's going to place you in XYZ. I'm not exactly sure I even think or agree that we do it so much at the middle school areas, because all of a sudden a student takes an Explorer plan test and then they get this score, and all of a sudden they're placed in some class. No one knows, particularly parents, exactly why did my child get put into so-and-so and so-and-so. So I want to know what kind of plans or education, because I think it was Dr. Harden and any of us who are involved in parent involvement, you have to know and either understand the expectation and what these tests are for. So for example, even when now we're with the third grade, 3rd through 6th or 3rd through 5th, are we contacting parents and saying, we're going to have this specific test? And I'm meaning any of the tests. I heard Dr. Harden a few weeks ago, or no, it was last week, I think, calling parents and saying, hey, we're going to have this test this week. Have your child eat well, blah, 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 number 2 pencil, et cetera. I don't know that we receive that at the elementary levels, but the other thought that's coming to my head is if parents are notified of upcoming tests And then the school in conjunction works to offer some sort of test preparation to better help the outcome of the test. Because at the end of the day, I don't think people really get it. I often shared with whomever would listen that we get good grades, A, B, C, D, in third grade, fourth grade, or whatever, but we have a poor testing pattern, and that continues throughout. So are we educating? Is there a plan to do something like that, particularly now with testing being so important, whether it be to the principal, to the teachers for evaluation, in order to gain the parents' partnership? Shouldn't we tell them how critical these tests are and what is it that we could do to even help to improve it?
Well, I think in terms of the high school tests, I mean, the ACT test is a college, in the end, it's a college admissions test. So, you know, and that's what it's always been. You know, for years it was bundled into PSAE, but it was really the ACT. The other tests are, you know, well, first of all, let's talk about NWEA. It's an adaptive assessment. There's no preparation for it. I mean, you know, we use the data to drive instruction, but in terms of a class or anything like that, it's built around the individual student. So as the student takes it, it adjusts for the student. The STEP assessment, and I'm sure my elementary principals could add to this, but the STEP and the Fontes and Pinnell are basically one-to-one reading assessments that a teacher does with the student. So for communicating with parents around one of those reading assessments, I believe our schools all talk to parents about that. They talk at conferences. They put that communication out there. I mean, at the district level, we have our schedule, but the communication, I guess, is left to the school.
Communication is left to the school, and I, again, challenge the whole principle. We have a district, and the district curriculum office should send down a plan to be disseminated to the schools as to what is expected. So the schools aren't on an island of their own. They are getting instruction or some sort of planned action from the district office. Are you saying we do not?
Well, we do it for our state assessments. We send out, we publish, I send things to buildings that go out about state assessments, but the actual in-house, fall testing or step testing, that's left up to the buildings.
Okay, I'll speak with you on another note, because I mean, and it's not, for me, again, I don't understand how we would have that one part is just allocated to the schools. You're reporting this information back, what they have, what's been done, but there is no plan of action going into it that the district as a whole or from this level is involved in the planning of the process. I don't understand.
You mean the process of communicating or the process of testing?
The process of communicating. For example, what is the acronym for NWEA? MAP.
It's the Northwest Evaluation Measures of Academic Progress.
Okay. And so since my principal is here, Mrs. Lane, how do we hear about this NWEA or any of these testing? Is it, what way would that be disseminated at our school? It's up to you, however you feel, whatever you feel comfortable. I'm curious.
All right, generally what I do is I spoke about it at curriculum night this year. So what I did is I gave a review of last year's data, and then I went through, what our plan was for administering the test, which we started administering that test 2 weeks ago with 1st through 5th grade students. We're currently through the first round, and we're doing the makeup testing. So that's what I did. Now, the other portion of that I also did was at the first PTO meeting of the year, I did mention, and there'll be school messengers that come out because I'm changing the date of the next PTO meeting because it conflicted with the community forum. So at the next PTO meeting, I will go over the school improvement plan for the school year, which will have all the testing information. So I'll reference NWEA map, STEP, Fontes and Pinnell, Park, et cetera.
And is this in your newsletter? Because the two components that you just mentioned and are not necessarily, particularly the PTO meeting is not.
Right. No, newsletters as well. So monthly newsletters. For our building, my first monthly newsletter goes out the end of September, beginning of October. So it's a compilation of September and October information. So it would have curriculum information, testing information, et cetera.
Okay. Thank you both. Ultimately, for me, I guess what I'm asking, and I can't imagine my colleagues don't support, because we are constantly talking about more parental, you're fine, more parental engagement. So these components, curriculum night, and I don't know what the other principals are doing, but curriculum night or PTO, that's not a vast number, reaching a vast number of our parents. I happen to be here for curriculum night. Again, I didn't see anywhere where anyone was sitting down having this discussion, no pun intended, Dr. Harden, but it's because it's a night that's inclusive of a lot of information or distribution of a lot of information. But I would like to see where we are communicating more. If these tests are so important and we, the state, we as a district have decided that this testing is so critical and we judge students on it, we better find a way to get parents involved in the practices. I think I'll give Mrs. Lane particularly in with relationship to Bill Hanlon coming in to do those workshops. I don't know if they are synchronized as far as before we're going to do some testing, but hopefully that we can utilize some of what we have or what we're already using to better, just to see a healthier return on student testing. And I'm going to say, even with the prejudice for third grade, they're coming from second grade where they're not taking standardized tests into the third grade. It's like, boom. So what is the preparation for that? You can't really study that over the summer. But what do you guys have as the educators to help prepare both that student and the parent in what they're going to need to be faced with in that time frame?
I understand what you're saying. I did want to tell you though, you did mention Excel Edge, and I have data that I presented to the Ed Committee twice that I will send you.
So yes, just as my colleague, Mrs. Galbraith, I've been saying this over and over, whether we're at the committee meeting, we can go right ahead and receive the same information at all times. It's not my intention. When I spoke to Dr. Harden, I don't think it was his intention to say he's going to send it to me. I intend that anybody would send it to everybody. It's not only relevant to me. But when we make decisions, I think we all need to know, because I've been asking about Excel Edge, so please post haste send me that. Because I'm going to say it to you again. I looked at Achieve, you had Achieve 3000. I don't want to go through another year where we're purchasing programs and they're not yielding a harvest. It's not enough to say we have this program and it doesn't meet the mustard. So please, let's do a better job, and not to say that you aren't, and just making sure that the numbers, is that what ECRA is going to help us to do, actually?
Yes.
That data analysis?
Yes.
Okay.
Program analysis.
Program analysis, okay. Thank you, Mrs. Hirsch.
Okay, any more questions or comments from board members? Okay, if not, I would like to just read, which I did not do at the start of this meeting, and that is to read our mission statement, which is to ensure that every child is challenged to reach his or her full potential academically, socially, and emotionally as they grow and develop into thoughtful, productive, and contributing members of society. Being said, where did Laura go? Oh, snuck up there on the podium. Okay, thank you for all the data and the information. And again, data is no good unless it's very informative. I think you share with us a lot of informative information. But I do have one comment to make regarding an issue that we faced last year, and that was getting some information relating to the students' grades. Okay, overall grades, how they were doing in the classroom. I think we got that information in like after the first semester, and I thought that was like in the 11th hour. And it was pretty disturbing to me to see the percentage of students that was failing or close to failing. And if we don't do anything different, we're going to get the same results. And I do want to give a compliment to, and I do want to say personally that I will try to get around to every school, but I did do a drive-by at Monee Elementary this past Friday, and just saw how the teachers were really engaged with their leader and the assistant principal. They were very attentive to what the principal and the assistant principal was conveying to them. So that really, as a board member, really made me proud. So we have the tools to do what we need to do to meet this mission statement. This is the reason why we are in business. And to have a third world country like Cuba have 95 to 99% of their population that's literate, and we have a #1 country like United States that doesn't get close to that mark, and we have all the tools, again, to make that happen. So I challenge us here at Crete Monee 201U. I think we have enough data, I believe. We've been in school for a month already to see where our kids are going, which direction, and if they are trending down that F to D path, we need to invoke some type of intervention. So I would hope that you can get the boards some information on how these kids are doing at this point. Is it too early? Is it too late? Because let me just say this one last thing. We cannot expect our kids to perform well on various assessment tests if they're getting F's and D's in algebra, geometry, or what have you. And you showed on that bell-shaped curve, I believe, you had 10% on this side, 10% on that other side, and 80% where the fourth graders really ramped up. And I would think that that's my desire, that's my personal desire, at some point before I'm off this board, that our kids, all of our kids, are literate by the time they're in the fourth grade or thereafter, soon after.
I know that, yeah, the son. I know that in my conversations with Dr. Harden and the middle school, Ms. Prisos, that, we had some conversations about their plans for, at least for math, to be checking unit assessments to see what the grade distributions are. We also, I know that they do review progress reports and quarter grades, and then the semester grades work their way up to me. But certainly at quarter, I can, a progress report time, we're able to get grade distributions, so we can do that.
That'd be great. And then this is not a direct reflection on our teachers. They're just a part of the whole process for getting and causing our students to learn. So if it takes me putting on a cape like Dr. Harden, I'll go out in the community and knock on the doors and talk to the parents, and I'm sure my colleagues would do the same. So whatever it takes, we have to get our kids to learn. Okay? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah.
Before school grades come out. I mean,
You mean progress report grades?
progress report
Yes.
or quarter reports.
Let me check on that and see which one. I'm not gonna report.
Laura, before you sit down to in getting that, because last year I think we got it at the more close to what? April, May, sometime like that? Those grade distribution.
I thought we got it in the January timeframe for the first semester.
So if we're starting earlier this time as it relates to getting a grade distribution, then we also talked about not having many interventions. We had homework lab. Do we have any interventions that we put in place this year, when we find out what these grades are, that we can, immediately say, turn on this whatever, to offer some measure of support to students.
Is, I'm making my way back over to the microphone. Is that, when you referred, well, first of all, the grade, the interventions are going to differ between middle school and high school.
Well, I'm sorry, and I should have referenced, so at the high school level, because those, we only got grades at the high school level.
Right, when I put together the data reporting schedule for the curriculum office, for the ed committee, I put in the semester grade distributions twice a year. So once, I believe, once would be in January, and then the other one would be in June, following the semesters. But in terms of quarter grades, I mean, we can add those in at, at the appropriate time, which would probably be November, for quarter grades. But on the data reporting schedule right now, the semester grades are put in at the end of the first semester and at the end of the second semester.
Okay. Okay, but I'm asking just, it will allow for us to burst into action for a student who may be at a place of no return.
Well, the way the system is set up is that at the school level, they're monitoring progress report grades. As I said, the math, they're monitoring unit test exam grades. They're monitoring progress report grades. They're looking at quarter grades. They're taking action. And then I have built into the reporting system to report to you the semester grades when credit is actually earned. But if you want reports on those other grade distributions earlier, I can do that. But the action is going to be taking place in the school. So Dr. Harden can speak to what his building is doing in response to grade distributions, as can Ms. Cresos.
Well, instead of having them all do that, when you report, first of all, yes, I'm going to speak personally, and I hope my colleagues share, we do need an earlier report. That's number one. Number two, with the report, it should indicate what the plan of action is going to be. So if these principals want to share what, I don't just have a number here or data, but this is my plan as a result of what we're seeing. And it could be, so I'm opening my mouth now, it could be we need some more, we need another whatever, because it's going to cost whatever. We have to know that at some point in order to vote on it or whatever is the case. But it's not enough to sit back and even come here at this time and say, this is what we yielded, when perhaps putting a little money somewhere or adding an instructor, perhaps. I don't know what the answer is, but we need to know before it's too late. And I think we react opposed to going aggressively at mitigating failure. That's a problem.
I spent about an hour today in a meeting talking about PBIS and interventions that we're going to work and things at the high school. We have those same type of things that will be going on at the high school when it comes to interventions on the grades. Those are important to us. I think what you're asking for is we want to see the grades and we want to see what interventions that the high school is doing so that we know that any of our kids that are trying to fall through the cracks, we're grabbing and lifting them up so that they can be successful far before we have issues with credit. Was that clearly understood?
Absolutely. Okay. And we sat here listening to a report for all of the students. I don't want to make it confusing at all that we don't care, because this student who starts at 3rd through 5th, they're being assessed. So I'm concerned about their grades as well. Okay. So we need a report, a list of what our students are receiving, what grades they're receiving. A lot of times we focus so much on the high school level, and true, they're on their way out. But the problem, again, starts with the foundation. I think Mr. Toure has spoken a lot about this, that if they can't read or write in 3rd grade or all the grades prior, what is our expectation for high school anyway? So we should have some serious focus level at this grade. So let us please have that information as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we definitely have to come off the balcony and go on the dance floor here. Just a little bit.
I wanna just add a couple things here. I've been talking for a long time, since I've been on the school board. I personally feel that we need to get the Munchkins at the earliest possible age, preschool. We need to identify them. We need to have breakout classes. We need to give them intensified lessons. If they're behind, they need to be spending a couple hours a day, not a week, but a couple hours a day in breakout classes to catch them up so they can get into the mainstream of the population. We need to put the money in those resources, especially at the pre-K through the third grade, when they haven't formed little attitudes and they're ready and they can be molded. That's when we need to capture these children and make them lifelong learners when they're excited about learning. And we need to do the same thing with the gifted children. We need to challenge them, give them breakout classes, put them in there 2 hours a day, and let those children excel, and challenge them and challenge them and challenge them, and then bring them all back in and assimilate them in the classroom like the great state of Illinois wants us to do. And they can spend the majority of the time in the classroom with their peers, but they can also have the advantage of these breakout classes so that we can catch up the kids that are falling behind, and we can challenge the kids that are gifted. And I also want to talk a little bit. I happened to go home, and my baby boy graduated from Crete Monee High School in 2001, my youngest child. And I happen to have the school profile for 2001, 2002. And over here, it's talking about ACT testing profile for the class of 2001. English, 19.5. Math, 20.1. Reading, 20.3. Science reasoning, 20.3. Composite score, 20.2. That's 14 years ago. We have put millions and millions and millions of dollars in education and tried all kinds of plans, and we now have a score of 19, composite score of 19, and all the scores across the board are lower than they were 14 years ago. Whatever we're doing, we ain't doing it right, folks, in my opinion. We're trying every gizmo and every kind of program, and you can call it park and go to Park Place and Broadway or whatever you want to call it, and we're not doing any better with these kids. Their grades are less than they were 14 years ago, and you and I, as a taxpayer, have spent a fortune on trying to educate our children, and what we're doing ain't working. We need to stop and say, I'm not going to beat my head against this wall any further, and I'm gonna get back to the basics, and I'm going to teach these kids so these kids can excel. And the average was college attendance 88%, military 7%, work 5%. And you know, this is 14 years ago. You know, I would hope after the tremendous amount of money we spent and all these little plans and gizmos that we've done throughout Illinois and the nation, that we would be up 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 points from where we were 14 years ago, and we're right back. We're less than we were then. So something isn't right. And you know, when these kids go to college and they want to, you know, I'll tell you from personal experience, they're going to look at that ACT score, and they're going to give them money based on that ACT score. If it's 18, they're going to get nothing. If it's in the 20s, they're going to get a little money. If it's in the high 20s, they're going to give them more money. They're not going to care about your socioeconomic background. They're not going to care what high school you came from. All they're going to care about is that score. They're going to compare the score to the score. They're not going to get into all this peripheral nonsense that we get into. Well, we're over here and we're in. All they care about when they see it is this kid's got a 25 on his ACT score. We're going to give him some money or her some money, and for academics or for athletics or whatever they're in, and it's based on that. And that's the bottom line. There's no caring about where you came from. If you were at Homewood Flossmoor High School, if you were at Crete Monee, or you were at Peatone, all they care about is that baseline number. And we need to get that number up. These kids need to be performing a lot better than they were 14 years ago, and we're going backwards. So I'm personally think all these things we're doing, some are working fine and others are not working, and we need to reassess and do what'll bring these grades up for these kids and give them a better shot. Because I don't see improvement, sorry.
I have to disagree with you, Mr. Teray.
I'm sure you do. You always
let
do.
me finish. I was real quiet while you went going. I need you to understand that 15 years ago, I was at Rantoul, and at Rantoul, we did not have the requirement of taking the PSATE or the ACT for every student in the high school. The PSAE or the ACT score that you have there in 2001 is only for college-bound students. If I were allowed to only count my college-bound students here at the high school, that's those kids who were at Prairie State who are getting a 3.0, I guarantee our scores are a lot higher than that. What our teachers are doing here, because of what the nation has said, we're going to test them all and we're going to educate them all. So our teachers are pressing every one of the students that we have, everyone that comes in, they're working as hard as they can with them, and we're doing a comparison of every child. It's not fair to compare your apple with our orange that we have here. The teachers are doing a great job, and we're pressing it very hard, along with all of our educators.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. Again, it's not a reflection on our teachers, and definitely there's been some great achievements in academics. The data doesn't lie, but there's room for improvement, and I think the consensus of this board is that we all of us value education, and all of us want to lead down that path to allow our students to improve. So again, this is a total team here, that all the pieces of the puzzle must fit together for success for our students.
I want to see the data. Provide me the data of all the college-bound kids that took the ACT, and give me the scores for them. Let's compare the apple to the apple.
See, and again, I would just like to say this, Mike, is more as our assistant superintendent of curriculum, Laura, said, that even the state is gearing away from just a test per se. We're looking at growth at different areas that measure success. And I think we have indicated that we are going down that path in a positive direction. So, but I think we all saying the same thing here. We want to see improvement. And if we are content with where we are, we're in the wrong business. Okay?
Well, let me make this clear. There's nothing I want to see more than these kids achieve.
I agree.
And I want to see it done at the earliest possible level.
Yes.
And we need to be putting the money into the kids when they're in pre-K through third grade, the most emphasis on it, and give these kids an opportunity to assimilate later. But they need to catch up, and we need to challenge the gifted, and we need to put that money right in that classroom. I would rather see them go to school in one of these older buildings and having that opportunity and having that special remedial education and that extra education for the gifted than to be in a fancy building and continue on the way we're doing it. And you're looking at this stuff and it says based on 50%. National average is 50%. That's telling me that 50% aren't even reaching this average. That's just horrible. You know, if you're happy with 50%, that's nuts. That's not making any sense to me. So, you know, don't take it that I don't want these kids to excel. I want every one of these kids to excel because I want to see them all successful in life, and I want to see them be good parents and successful providers for their family. Because the goal of my goal as a parent was to see that my children had things better in life than I've had, and they're more successful than me. And that's my goal, and that'll be my goal until they close the box on the lid. And that should be every parent's goal. Unfortunately, we can't control the variable of getting the parents here. How many parents do we have in the audience today? How many parents of school kids that go to this school? 4 parents in the audience? How many are enrolled in the school? 4,500? What? This is the average, 4, 5, 6 parents. You know, are we doing anything successful in reaching these parents and bringing them into the school? Where are they? Where are they at? Your teacher, your principals out there, what's your percentage of parents that come to report card day?
Let's keep it.
What is it?
Let's keep it no dialogue now.
What's your percentage? Is it 90%? Is it 100%? Is it 40%?
We're not trying to solve the problem right now, but we are singing the same song, Mr. Teray and all the rest of the board members up here, that we want to see progress. And again, I think we have the right skill sets out there. We are not the professionals. We are giving the task to our superintendent to make it happen, and will happen. I feel confident it will happen, and we're on the right path. So let's work together as a team and just keep these wheels going on this bus in the right direction. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Good conversation, good dialogue. And again, thank you, Assistant Superintendent Ms. Hertz, for all of the information and the data. And thank you, all of you, the principals out there that's making it happen, along with the teachers. Good job. All righty. Without further ado, we want to move on to consent. Principals or teachers, would you like to say anything else? I want to give you that opportunity. I want you to go out that door smiling. Okay. White Castles is on me. Okay.
Thank you for staying with us, Mr. Maine. We have a little company, and Dr. Harden.
Our superintendent just had to take a
Mrs.
moment.
Spence, I was just asking if it was 5 or 4. Okay, so that's what makes it different. Okay.
Just taking a moment before we resume here.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
5 minutes. Recording secretary, have you captured a 5-minute intermission break?
She's already on.
For personal reasons. Recording secretary, have you documented this 5-minute personal break for everyone that's sitting up here? For whatever reason they need to do.
Pull up the consent.
No, I'm not ready.
Okay, I think we have everyone. Is someone missing between? Oh,
Ask the security.
security,
Can
Caroline?
you just let Mrs., just out of fairness, let Ms. Gasparo know that we're going to begin again?
Yeah, just tell her we need one more vote to adjourn.
Say that and see her running like she'll be, you won't know there's anything wrong with her knee. Let's see. Doors open.
Yeah, we shouldn't have too much longer here. We should be.
Run, Jennifer. See? We had a bet that you would, once you heard we were adjourning, you would run. Well, okay, we're ready.
Okay. We are at the point on the meeting agenda to approve the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Teray,
Second.
second by Ms. Galbert. Questions, comments?
One correction, at least on the Finance Committee minutes here. It says, well, I guess we can accept it based on the change in this comment. It says here, committee chair believes it is prudent to use capital development funds for these projects. This list is for FY17. Committee chair states that he said that he believes it is not prudent to use. Is that what
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, that's on page.
Page 190?
Finance meeting.
194, I think.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just looking at the, I apologize. And I noted it on here if that's going to help for future. You know, when we're done? Okay, just to make the adjustment, but I'm imagining it's approved based on this amendment. Yes, Mr. Brown?
Yes,
Okay.
that we don't have to revise the.
Life safety project recommendation?
The finance, that's under the consent, under the finance on page, somebody called out the page, what was it, 194? Okay. Life. Yeah, the life
Recommendation.
safety.
First one, point of discussion, it says committee chair believes it is prudent. It should say believes it is not prudent.
Not, just one word. Yes. All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, any other concerns or questions?
Yeah, and I'm going to ask a question with relationship, pull it back up, to consent agenda. We had the discussion last month with relationship to certain items being placed on the consent agenda and did we come to a full agreement about what will not be on the consent agenda going forward?
Yes, you asked that the
Personnel be taken out.
and that it come.
And it's actually under, it's not in the consent.
Okay.
It's not under the
And
consent.
then even with the personnel report, and let me verify, these numbers, these dollars and cents, I need to clarify that any dollars and cents that we see, anybody's salary that we see on the personnel report is one that has been discussed in the personnel report prior to putting it down here, or for that matter, bringing it to this desk for our signature. That's where it will be, or that's where it is?
Well, anything that wasn't discussed is not on the current personnel.
I understand that. I'm talking about a practice.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I hear you on the record saying, thank you. Oh, for the record, that's your understanding, Mr. Neal? That we'll have a recommendation?
Yes, it is. Everything on there is from a matrix at this point. from a
I'm
salary.
sorry?
Everything that's in here now is from a salary matrix.
Okay, and you guys are talking about what's here today. I'm asking you a overall.
And for the future, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, also under the consent agenda, we have donations. So when we approve these, I would like to have these donations read by the various board members. Mr. Teray, we didn't give you any because of the recent If you would like, you can take mine.
Thank you, thank you. It's hard to talk with stitches in your mouth.
We just want you to smile, Mr. Touré.
So.
Jealous.
Your fellow board member next to you, she has more than anyone else. So, okay, so we will read this after we approve the consent agenda or not approve it. So, any other questions on the consent agenda? If not, Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Touré?
Aye.
Mrs. Gasparo?
Aye.
Ms. Galbraith?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Secretary's aye.
Motion carried. Okay, I'd like to begin reading in these donations, followed by Janine, then Kimberly.
You mean Jennifer? Is that
No,
what you're pointing at?
you. I said Janine,
Oh,
you,
okay,
and
sorry.
Jennifer. Okay, I'm first.
Oh, okay.
Janine, you, and Jennifer. I'm first, though. Okay?
Gotcha, okay.
Remember who you follow. Okay, I'm going to read one, and it's addressed to Reverend Aleen's, I think it's Stiles Glover. And it says, Dear Reverend Stiles Glover, the staff and the scholars of Balmoral Elementary sincerely thank you for the donations of school supplies. These supplies will greatly be appreciated by our scholars. Once again, thank you for your support. So many of our scholars benefit by the donations received from our surrounding communities. Your partner in education, Gantel Perkins, Principal, Balmoral. Another one here is Independent Physical Therapy Organization. And it reads, once again, the staff and the scholars of Balmoral Elementary sincerely thank you for the donations of popsicles. As our building is not air conditioned, it allows our scholars to cool down and relax in the heat for a few moments. We sincerely appreciate your continued support. You are a valued partner in our community. Your partner in education, Gantel Perkins, Principal. The other one here is addressed to Miss Julia King. Dear Miss King, the staff and the scholars of Balmoral Elementary sincerely thank you for the donations of school supplies. These supplies will greatly be appreciated by our scholars. Once again, thank you for your support. So many of our scholars benefit by the donations received from our surrounding communities. Your partner in education, Gantel Perkins, Principal. Yes. Okay, next up is Janine.
The first one is for Independence Physical Therapy in Crete. On behalf of the Crete Elementary family, please accept our thanks for the popsicle donation. With our high temperatures and warmer than normal classrooms, this treat was truly enjoyed and appreciated by all our students and staff members. Again, thank you for your generosity. Sincerely, Erin Lane, Principal. The next one is to Pastor Christopher Castile at Garden of Peace Ministries in Park Forest. Dear Pastor Castile, I wanted to reach out to you and thank you for your generous donation of school supplies to our school. Your kindness and generosity has not gone unnoticed. The supplies that you donated came in handy for classroom teachers to help fill the needs of some of their students. Your donation has been placed in a common area where all teachers will be able to assist students with any immediate needs. The assistance of organizations and citizens like you have enabled this school district to accomplish far more than it otherwise could have. On behalf of the students, faculty, staff, and parents of Coretta Scott King Magnet School, I thank you again. Sincerely, Brian Main, Principal. The next is to Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Girk at Independence Physical Therapy. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Girk, I wanted to reach out to you and thank you for your generous donation of popsicles to our school. Your kindness and generosity has not gone unnoticed for the second time. Last year when I was principal at the 6th grade center, and this year as principal at Coretta Scott King. The popsicles that you donated to school were very much appreciated by students and staff alike. It was just the right ending to a very long and terribly hot week. The assistance of businesses and citizens like you have enabled this school district to accomplish far more than it otherwise could have. On behalf of the students, faculty, staff, and parents of Coretta Scott King Magnet School, I thank you again. Sincerely, Brian Main, Principal. And Mr. and Mrs. Timothy Conley in Crete. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Conley, I wanted to reach out to you and thank you for your generous donation of popsicles to our school. Your kindness and generosity has not gone unnoticed for the second time, last year when I was principal at the 6th grade center, and this year as principal at Coretta Scott King. The popsicles that you delivered to school were very much appreciated by students and staff alike. It was just the right ending to a very long and terribly hot week. The assistance of businesses and citizens like you have enabled this school district to accomplish far more than it otherwise could have. On behalf of the students, faculty, staff, and parents of Coretta Scott King Magnet School, I thank you again. Sincerely, Brian Main, Principal.
Barbara Girth, Independence Physical Therapy. Dear Barbara, I wanted to reach out to you and thank you for your generous gift of popsicles. I sincerely appreciate your thoughtfulness of our students on such a hot and humid summer day. Your kindness and generosity has not gone unnoticed. The popsicles that you donated were a well-needed and welcome treat for our students and staff. Your contribution allowed our students an opportunity to take a break from the summer heat and assisted them in re-energizing and refocusing their attention towards learning. The assistance of citizens and local businesses like you have enabled the school district to accomplish far more than it otherwise could have. So on behalf of the students, faculty, staff, and parents of the Crete Monee 6th grade center, I thank you, Mrs. Caroline Daly, Principal. The next is Julie Boomsma, Second Place Church, Emerald Parkway in Monee, Illinois. Dear Mrs. Boomsma and Second Place congregation, on behalf of the students and staff of Monee Elementary, I would like to thank you and your congregation for the generous donation of lunch totes filled with school supplies. The supplies will be used for students who are unable to purchase their own materials, and the students will also enjoy carrying their lunch in their new tote. Your generosity has made it possible for them to start the school year well prepared, which will help them to be more successful. We appreciate your thoughtfulness and consideration of our students. Sincerely, Joanne Jones, Principal. The next one is from Monee Free Methodist Church in Monee, Illinois. Dear Pastor DeVries, on behalf of the students and staff at Monee Elementary, I'd like to thank you and your congregation for the generous donation of school supplies. The supplies will be used for students who cannot otherwise provide their own materials, and your generosity has made it possible for them to start the school year well prepared, which will help them to be more successful. We appreciate your continued thoughtfulness and consideration of our students. Sincerely, Ms. Joanne Jones.
We have a letter from Talala Elementary School to Mr. and Mrs. Baggerly. On behalf of Talala Elementary School, thank you for your recent donation of school supplies, including notebooks, folders, glue, crayons, markers, scissors, and more. As a result of your generosity, we have been able to ensure that all of our Talala students have the supplies they need for a successful school year. You truly have made a difference in the lives of many of our students and families. Again, we thank you for your donation and your ongoing support of Talala Elementary. Sincerely, Melissa Huff, School Social Worker. And lastly, from Carolyn Daly at the 6th grade center to Mary Conley of Independence Physical Therapy. Dear Mary, I want to reach out to you and thank you for your generous gifts of popsicles. I sincerely appreciate your thoughtfulness of our students on such a hot and humid summer day. Your kindness and generosity has not gone unnoticed. The popsicles that you donated were a well-needed and welcomed treat to our students and staff. Your contribution allowed our students an opportunity to take a break from the summer heat and assisted them in re-energizing and refocusing their attention toward learning. The assistance of citizens and local businesses like you have enabled this school district to accomplish far more than it otherwise could have. On behalf of the students, faculty, staff, and parents of the Crete Monee 6th grade center, I thank you again.
Thank you, colleagues. And Board Member Teray, if you would like to say thank you for all the donations, give you an opportunity to.
Thank you for all the donations.
I have a question regarding donations. Culver's in Crete had boxes full of school supplies that they collected. Did those get distributed throughout the schools, or what happened to that? I don't see a letter to Culver's.
I'm not sure. I will check on that. I
Okay.
didn't know of Culver's collecting information.
Collected for the entire month.
Okay, I didn't know of,
Okay.
have not been made aware of. I'll go check
I'm just
into
curious,
that.
they're very good to our community. We
great
want to make
to
sure
all
we
of us.
remember them.
Agreed.
Thank
I'll
you.
check on that.
So you're saying there's a box of it. Where's the box of donations? No, but I mean, where are they?
I need to find out if they came through the district. Is what I'm looking into.
Thank you.
And
Board Member
probably, just out of
Galbraith.
curiosity too, now, this is good news. So can we make sure, as far as the agenda, because it always, this is good news, and it's news that needs to be shared up front. For one, people who may want to donate and don't know what they can do to help. I mean, I saw a lot of popsicles, but there's a lot of things that we could use, which popsicles in this climate and what we've been dealing with, but to generate further donations, if we say it, that this is already happening, and how you can donate, because that could be another thing with the Culvers. I know they've donated before, Kohl's as well, but what is the process? Do we have a standard procedure by which people present, particularly to the district? Because I know that the schools have an individual kind of relationship with some of these individuals. So if Culver's or some major company is going to donate to the district, I know last year there was a thing and they brought it to Natalie Nash's attention, but what is our process may be a good question to ask overall. And then when you and Dr. Hall, I guess, generate the agenda, where it can be moved so it best produces, a better marketing of what's happening in the district. People are donating, people are giving, people do believe in 201U despite what the others say. That should be stated.
Okay. Okay.
They had the boxes out
Crete
at Monee,
Culver.
too, but it's all the same owner.
Yeah,
Yes.
from Monee and Crete.
I do believe they did at Monee.
She's the same owner that's at
Yeah.
Monee.
Yeah, very nice young lady.
She's a
Beautiful attitude.
alum of Crete.
Alumni. Great. Good conversation. Good conversation. Thank you, guys. All right, moving right along, we have action reports. First up, superintendent. So can I have a motion to approve the approval of the application for recognition of schools?
Moved.
Moved by Board Member Teray,
Second.
second by Board Member Sanders. Discussion, superintendent, could you tell us what this is about?
This is our yearly opportunity where we bring to the board our approval, or we ask for the approval for application for recognition of schools to be forwarded to the regional, the ROE, the Regional Office of Education. And we do this yearly to recognize our schools for some of the great things that they do. The information on each building is actually within your packet. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the application for the recognition of schools.
Okay. Yeah, I see we have various principals and educators and things of that nature listed here for each school.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, 342, maybe a little further back. It goes to, actually it goes to 338. It starts with the justification, 338. And then 339 starts the application, actually. Okay, do we have any questions or comments on this action report or action item? This is something we have been doing It's just, and we do it on a yearly basis?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
It has to go to the ROE.
okay. Okay. If not, no questions or comment. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mrs. Galbraith? Aye. Mrs. Gasparo?
Aye.
And Secretary's aye. Mr. Teray?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next up on the action report, scope membership renewal for the year 2015, 2016. Can I have a motion to approve the scope membership renewal for 2015, 2016?
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Sanders. Second by Brown. Okay, Superintendent, can you discuss?
Yes, the South Cooperative Organizations for Public Education, SCOPE, presents itself as the representative of the South and Southwestern suburban school districts in both Cook and Will counties. SCOPE currently represents 56 public school districts with a combined enrollment exceeding 300,000 students. There are 7 special education cooperatives that are also members of SCOPE. SCOPE members are mainly similar to many other suburban school districts, but they are distinctly different in other ways. SCOPE represents school districts that are significantly more dependent on state sources of revenue and that have less taxable wealth per student. And they are more heavily represent minority children. The diversity in SCOPE is a representative of the growing diversity across the state. The mission of SCOPE is to provide leadership and organization to coordinate support from the legislature so that children in both the South and Southwest suburbs can attend schools that are properly and equitably funded so that they can provide quality teachers and programs that will assist our students in meeting the demands of their futures. The purpose of this report is to have our district join SCOPE organization, or in this case, to renew our membership. The recommendation of the administration is asking the board to approve joining or the renewal of membership dues for SCOPE organization.
Thank you, Superintendent. And from my experience with SCOPE, not the mouthwash, but what they offer here, it's been good. They let us know what's going on in Springfield, so on and so forth, to better address the issues that we can address the issues here within our school district. I do have a question. I see the amount is based on some calculation, some formula, which amounts to about $1,500, a little bit over. And Dr. Williams, can you look at that on page 363? It says, it's showing us having an EAV of $707,000 plus.
707 million, 707.6 million.
Okay, maybe that's, okay. That's not, hold it now, I'm a little confused. We do not have a, yeah, we do.
Our
Yeah, there we
EAV
go.
has dropped.
Actually, that's went up. That's up. That's why I'm a little concerned. $707 million. So just look at that offline. I thought it was a little, it looked like it's trending up. But anyway, my real question was, you see, going down right in the middle of the page, it says tier 2.
Yes.
Okay. It says over 92,000 and under 210,000 EAV per student based on the ADA, average district attendance, I bet.
Average daily attendance.
Daily attendance. And then it gives us a number and it gives a formula and it comes out to that $1,548.50. I'm not clear on that.
Basically, they're using
So they-
the attendance that has been reported to the state, along with the EAV that is from our tax levy to
Okay.
determine that figure.
Okay, I didn't run the calculator on here, but that district, I see it. I just answered my own question. The formula, they came up with 155,000. That's what I'm, that 155,000 is between that 92,000 and 210. They took the average daily attendance That's what that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. I missed it. Okay. I looked at that for 2 hours today and couldn't figure it out. The simple things. Okay. All righty. So again, from my experience and previous boards, they have not had an issue with accepting this membership. It does have some value for us as a district for the amount that we are asked to pay. Any further questions or comments?
I'll make a comment. I've known the group for 20 years. Chris was the secretary when I first met her. Now she's the organizational director. They're all good people. The problem is that their main mission is to try to get us more funding in the South area. And I haven't seen that happen in 20 years. So, they're well-meaning, but I don't think they give us anything for the money. I mean, we can get updates online on what's going on in Springfield, and that's I think they're nice people, but I don't think we need to spend $1,500. We got Luda. Luda's doing the same thing for us, pretty much, advocating for large unit districts, and they're all asking for more money, but they're not accomplishing the mission. So I'm going to respectfully vote no on this. But I don't think we're getting anything out of the $1,500 other than updates we can get online. So that's my comment.
Just having been the scope representative for 5-6 years, Mike, I could concur, except that they have had several workshops that I have attended. And you're right, they give updates, but they also give information to us about how to go about. They're a working group that I feel, just from my experience with them. Chris Koch, who is the Illinois State Board of Education, help me, I can get it out of my mouth. But I agree with you, he's personable. If you call and ask a question, and there are many questions concerning the state and/or to put forth your concerns down there, I know that he does that. 1,500, can we put it somewhere else that isn't doing what these guys are offering? They've given us legal workshops. Again, I don't know where we're getting it otherwise, but that's my 2 cents on it. They have definitely been supportive of this district in my purview, at least the time that I've worked with them.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what's the scope of the scope. And it doesn't really say that they are in position, or their main purpose for being who they are is to find sums of money for us. And I understand what you're saying too, Mr. Teray, as far as, we can go online or read up on the laws that the legislators are either deleting or adding, so on and so forth. And I attend the One Scope, and since I've been on the board, One Scope meeting or outing, I guess. And at that time, I felt it was very informative. I learned a lot during that meeting, and I was able to bring some things back then to the board and talk about some things. So, is it worth $1,500? It can be worth $1 million if you pay for it. So if we don't pay $1,500, it's not worth it. If we don't pay a penny, it's not worth it. But if we pay $1 million, it's worth it. So it's what we pay for it.
The other thing, just one last thought, is that any of these programs, including LUDA, if we don't initiate, and I think when I first met you, Mr. Teray, you had talked about, going to Springfield. I think none of these people can be as successful if we don't initiate For example, talking to Peg Agnos with Scope. Again, when I have a question, I certainly, you and Dr., I think it was Tom Heisel and Dr. Hall live in Springfield. I can't live in Springfield. So for me, it's worth it to have these individuals to be able to get on the phone with them, call them based on some of the concerns that our district is having, because we have money issues and things that people need to be communicated down in Springfield that we just simply can't. I was in a meeting recently with State Congresswoman Robin Kelly, and Mr. Koch was there again. So they are active in trying to get information that they can articulate back to Springfield on our behalf. They know 201U, at least I can say that much.
Yeah, and I just want to add too, I believe, is it pronounced Chris? He used to be the superintendent. He used to be the superintendent of the Illinois School Board Association, but I think that was a political appointed position, and I think he no longer.
Yeah, Mr.
What?
Dr. Tony Smith.
That's the new person now?
Yes.
Okay. So again, you are bringing this to us, Superintendent Cunningham, as a recommendation. So I believe that you feel strongly that we should continue down this path.
I do, and I do because one of the challenges that we have over and over again is the things that are coming from Springfield. We have to get the proper information. And if we're not getting the proper information just from one direction, yes, LUTA is important. We're going to LUTA training at the beginning of October. They're going to give us more information. But the things that we have here, because I've been in LUTA districts quite a while now, but the things that we have here for 201U is a lot different than some of the average LUTA districts. So there's not information specifically about that necessarily at LUTA. So we need some of that here from our South suburban districts in order to understand how it's going to affect us with our taxes, how it's going to affect us with the many, many changes that they're talking about in Springfield.
Okay. And it's easy to say that $1,500 it's not a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It is, every penny counts. So I'm going to value your judgment coupled with what I've seen with them and take it from there on a personal level. Yeah. So any further questions or comments on this topic of discussion? If not, Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Let's see here. Mr. Toure.
I'm going to vote no.
Okay. Mrs. Gasparo.
Yes.
And Mrs. Galbraith.
Yes.
And Mr. Brown.
Yes.
And Secretary's aye.
Okay, motion passed. Next topic, HR personnel report. Can I have a motion to approve the personnel report?
Moved. Oh. Moved by Mrs. Gasparo.
Moved by Mrs. Gasparo. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Board Member Toure. Any discussion?
This, at the request of the board, we moved the personnel report off of the consent agenda to a separate action item. So this, the format of the report has not changed. It's the same type of report as it always has been, and certainly recommend that the report be approved.
You recommend what?
I recommend that the personnel report be approved.
Okay. I do have we got the motion out on the floor, right? And it's been moved. I do have a question, and I've seen this from day one, and now I decide to ask the question. I don't know the answer. We have two reports. One is Board of Education, one is regular. What's the difference?
The difference is that the Board of Education or the personnel report regular is the one we post publicly. And the Board of Education has some information that can't be posted publicly.
For salaries and.
I see the difference. I was having an illusion for 5 years. Thank you,
Glad we
sir.
could clear
Thank
that up.
you. Thank you for the clarity on it, okay?
I just have one question. Our new principal at the sixth grade center, is she on here?
Yes.
Did I miss it? Okay.
She's not.
Oh, she's not on there?
No, she's not on there yet. We do not have the contract set and ready. Once I have the contract set and ready, it should be coming in on the 29th.
Oh, it'll be at the next meeting then.
That is
Okay,
correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion on the HR report? And I appreciate it. I think it makes it easier, for me at least, to digest being separate like this, so we don't have to keep pulling it out, the consent. I think this make the process a lot easier, in my opinion.
Just out of curiosity, with the report, just the way it looks, because it's so much easier to look at it, when, I'm not going to name a name, but so when you have a new position, this, I heard you guys once say in the personnel, you have a system by which we are able to, if I want to track a physical education teacher, if we finally replace a person, how would we go about doing that? From one board meeting to the next is when we technically, or I should say maybe even a personnel meeting, where we are able to determine if a position has been filled. For example, I'm looking at some roles. Is it my understanding, or should I believe that you would have maybe a temporary, what do you call it, a long-term substitution for the absences of some of these switches? Is that how that works? I'd be interested to know how long it takes to have a person replaced, because again, we're talking about students, academia, and the long-term substitution versus a standard person in the room. And no offense to a substitute, but someone's gonna, especially at the beginning of the year, someone who's going to stick with these guys and be there for the long haul. Just what the timeline is for some replacement like that. I mean, because you have some key courses here, and I just wonder, is there a report that you guys generate that shows that we track? We are 2 weeks without a, I don't know, 2 weeks without a special education teacher in whatever class. Do we address that?
We can always generate a report out of our subfinder system, if we have had a teacher who has been covered, even on long-term, we do track that. So, I mean, we could generate it, but if I'm understanding correctly what you're asking for, if a position, are you asking me if the position is vacant for a period of time because we're replacing that person? We have a substitute in there. How long is that time period that we have a substitute as opposed to the regular teacher?
You know what? I'm going to make it real plain for me. You know what? If I'm a parent and I see clearly you have moved someone, so that means our kid is going to have a substitute for how long? And when that's it. How long is the substitute supposed to be in there? We are actively looking for someone, and these are core courses, so something needs to be done. I'm just asking, would we know, can we know when that is going to be, when that changes, prior to, I guess, every personnel meeting is once a month, and then you have, I don't know, I'm just asking, is there a system that you report and update how long, particularly, I'm not going to talk about PE, but I certainly am talking about English, math, some of the core courses where we really can't afford, and I don't know, is your expectation that a permanent sub is to provide the same or as rigorous, how do I say it, rigorous curriculum
instruction
as a long-term sub? What is the expectation perhaps even of a long-term sub? And I ask the question because we walk through the building and we see, I've seen where substitution is not, you don't have the same commitment and dedication to it. Does that mean that class it's going to be reflective of that. So, and then I recall last year, maybe even a year before, we had this, I don't know, a sickness of long-term substitution issue. So I'm just wondering, we don't get complacent in saying, well, we got the long-term substitution, let's just ride with that for the whole year. We are aggressively seeking people, particularly, and I don't mean to exclude any particular department, but for these core courses.
If there, yes, we are always trying to fill the position with a teacher certified in that area. And if we have to fill something in a longer period of time, we do try to find someone with some background in that area to serve in that capacity until we can have a permanent replacement. We do hire permanent subs in our high school and our middle school at this time, and typically they're assigned, they're the first assigned into a longer term assignment because they do tend to be teachers who have not found positions elsewhere. But
So that's the definition of a permanent sub, is one who has, he or she is certified.
Well, a lot of, I can't say every single one is certified, but I can say the ones we tend to place in long-term assignments tend to be certified people who have not been employed as a full-time teacher somewhere in their area. They may not be certified in the area we've placed them in because that's a temporary placement while we find a teacher certified. For instance, if we had a hard to fill area open up, which we have one right now. We did find a teacher who was as close to a certified person in that area to fill in until we can find a certified teacher. So it's actively trying to find people who are the best fit for that position. They might go a few days with a sub while we do that, but we are simultaneously searching for both the person who can fill in the interim and the person who's going to permanently fill it.
Okay.
I just have one question, if I may. Can we approve, we have one item here, we're approving a salary to be determined. Is that legal to do that, or do we have to do it in increments of 30 days or something? Do we know, this one, I guess we can use her name.
I can answer that real fast, so you don't have to look at it since I'm right next to him, if you don't mind. When we're in the personnel committee meeting, the explanation of how it would be determined was given to the Board of Education and accepted. You can't say exactly what it's going to be because you don't know exactly how many days that person would serve. The process was okayed by the personnel committee, but it has to be TBD because I don't know how many days that person will serve in that spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand the logic behind it. I just didn't know if we had to do like 30 days at a time and then, or something like that. If we can just leave it open-ended and it's a legal procedure.
It's legal as long as the Board of Education understands how it's being filled and what's being paid for.
And it's set as a daily rate that is determined in there. So there is a salary there. It's just the number of days is indeterminate because it's dependent upon when the position is permanently filled.
And what step or what issue is that? What page?
That is on page was it? That's on page 3, approximately, or 366, what, about 8 or 9 down?
Oh, you see it. So after you do that, at what point will we know what that is? The to be determined is just that, a pending status. So when does that become available? We certainly won't see it on the next personnel report because their name should not be reflected again, or would it?
That will end when a food service director is permanently appointed. So at the day that person takes their office or their position, this person will stop receiving that stipend.
Okay.
Yeah, we just do not know the effective end date at this point.
Correct.
Until we get a new director.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's prudent to do it this way.
Correct.
I don't think, is there any other way you could do it?
You know, you can always go a certain period of time, but then you're constantly having to
And it's
redo it. So this is
right.
just the easier way to do it.
10 days and then come back. Okay.
Can I ask what an intermittent leave of absence is?
Under Family Medical Leave Act, a person can take intermittent family leave for, what that means is it's not all at once. They might work some intervals in there, but have to take days for treatment or to, depending on what their circumstances are. So the act does allow up to 60 days to be taken either altogether or intermittently.
Okay, good discussion. Any further discussions, comments? If not, Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Just one thing. I think for the new members, I'm just asking, you have here a staff member and you have no change, no change, no change. Would it not be prudent on the one that you indicate is for the board to have some reference point of what is
What
the
page are you
salary?
referring
I'm
to?
still on 364. Is that important to anybody?
So the board, if I'm understanding correctly, the board would just like to see what their current salary is, even if it's a lateral
As
move.
far as I'm concerned, you have it everywhere else, just to
Right.
say no change from what. I remember what it was, because I was here. Somebody may not.
I would still want to see the words "no change" though, so that I know that it's not changed.
So
No
we can put
change,
the-
but
Put their
amount.
current salary and then no
wouldn't
change
hurt.
under that. We can do that, no problem.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not a problem.
Keep them both. No change from
From their
present
current salary, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
no
list the
change.
salary.
That's a good point.
So you need to have a reference point. You say it's correct.
Okay, again, Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Okay. Mrs. Gasparo,
Aye.
Mrs. Galbraith,
Aye.
Mr. Toure,
Aye.
and Mr. Brown,
Aye.
and the secretary's aye.
Motion carried. We're getting to the end here. And our next topic for discussion on the action report is in the business section or category for the fuel purchasing agreement. Can I have a motion to approve the intergovernment fuel purchasing agreement between the Village of Crete and our school district, Crete Monee 201U?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Board Member Galbraith and second.
Ms. Gasparo.
I'm sorry. I looked right at you. I didn't see your lips move.
And seconded by Mr. Toure.
Second by Toure. Sorry. I actually thought it was you. I didn't get you mixed up like that. She did say it? That's, oh. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
See, and the problem is, I'm sitting next to her, I heard you. Well, you
I
guys.
said,
have
I'm
your individual
getting
names, so
these,
they gotta
I'm
be
getting
right.
these names right finally, and I thought I had the voices right.
And Janine, you know, we talked about not being able to hear, so she's in my purview. I only heard her.
Okay, I know Board Member Toure's second now. Who do we have for moving?
I have Jennifer.
Can we split it? Okay, Board Member Gasparo.
We'll get you next time, Janine.
So you capture that, recording secretary? Okay, could you repeat for clarity? Who do we have move?
Right.
Okay, understood. That is correct. Do we have any comments? I'll give it to Dr. Williams. Would you like to expound on this? Because it's been floating around over the last couple meetings here.
Yes.
So
you
we will
may-
not see this again, right, in the Finance Committee?
No,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
We're done.
Okay.
We are done. As you may recall, the agreement was presented to the board 2 months ago. And there were several revisions that went back and forth between the Village of Crete and the Finance Committee, actually. So this is the final agreement. It was approved by the Village of Crete on August 24th. So, and they have been very patient and generous with us because they've allowed us to use the system without an agreement, even though we had not paid into the initial cost for the new equipment. So happy to see this resolved.
Okay, so we're gonna get that check, I believe, for a little bit over $2,800 out to them, like,
I'm going to try to get that out to them tomorrow, actually, in our weekly run.
great. Okay, and just one last statement. This was approved by their board unanimously. Everyone
Minus one person that was absent.
that was absent?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any further comments or questions or?
Just
Okay.
that the final revision was reviewed by our attorneys.
The final revision was reviewed by our attorneys before they approved it. And then when it came back with their signature, my department reviewed it to compare it to the final, to make sure there were no changes.
And then it was brought to the finance committee meeting just a few days back.
Last week.
Okay, if no other further questions or comments, Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mrs. Galbraith?
Aye.
Mrs. Gasparo?
Aye.
And Mr. DeRay?
Yes.
Secretary's aye.
That motion passed.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Old business.
I just want to ask if, we talked about, last month we voted on the technology. Is this the right place? Technology and the costs that we voted on for the infrastructure, the whole bit with the system, communication.
The voicemail system, ma'am.
So is this old? Am I in the right place here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So two things. So I noticed on the website, we're still not communicating. So you did good putting it on the website. Unfortunately, again, if you don't read the website and you leave a message like I have, and you don't know that we're having a system-wide issue, I don't know what. We cannot overuse school reach. People need to know that we have some deficiency in communicating. It does not service any purpose for a mom to call her child's classroom teacher and not be able to use it. I think as an employee, I would be obtuse if my husband or children can't call. I mean, I get they can call the office, but in emergency, we need to be able to reach out. So I think we need to communicate that, and how long it's going to take, I don't know. I did speak to Mr. I just get,
You're right, Mr. Lyle.
Mr. Lyle.
You're all over.
Just for myself to get an update, because I happen to be an irate mom trying to reach my child's teacher. And, again, it's just not a happy place. So again, you're going to get another one of those just by happenstance, because I'm certainly not the only one. And I think we need to communicate this, whether it be your teachers in their newsletters, your principals in their newsletter, until this is fixed. What to be expected, to just maybe refer them to talk to the school office only, because God knows how many people are stuck in those mailboxes and cannot be retrieved. So where are we? Can you guys give us an update? And Mr. Lyle is here. You mentioned to me 2 weeks ago that we were at a place of
Where is he?
Google, he's back there, that we were able to, that there was some kind of, I know you were waiting for us to vote, so I will say that it was important that we voted last month to initiate the process, so you never know how important your vote is to get it started. So they've been without service, from my understanding, since May of last year. Was it May? Letter went out, and so I would have hoped, I think sometimes when you guys are articulating things to us too, if we're somehow delaying a process, because we delayed the process by us not getting it either to the board level or what have you, and that problem should have been resolved before school started, really. But we sometimes maybe need to know deadlines about what we're dealing with too, and to have it expedited to the board. It was like 2 or 3 months before we got the opportunity to say, let's move forward. And there was some apprehension even here last month about what are we going to pay, the cost or whatever. So can you share with us where we are? How long it's going to take?
Ms. Sanders, if I can give you some initial information regarding an update from the Finance Committee meeting, Mr. Lyle can talk to you about the technical aspects of it.
Any informational help?
At the Finance Committee, it was recommended that the agreements associated with the contract be sent to the architect, be sent to the attorney for review. There were some concerns regarding the agreement. We sought to expedite that. I believe I sent those, the meeting was Tuesday. I believe I sent them to the attorney on Wednesday and requested a turnaround time of Monday. He got them back to me on Monday. So I am working with the vendor now to address the concerns of the Finance Committee and the attorney that came out of the review of that contract.
I'll let the records be known. Also, there was a 30,000 plus savings from the last time the board met.
Yes.
Until this day. So there were some good things happen. I think board member Gasparo and myself, who attended the finance meeting, was able to come up with a few other things that we need to clean up on that. So I think that was, we did some good things at that meeting. And
It's
technical-
unfortunate that it's taking this long, but we want to make sure that the solution meets all of our needs and that it is properly reviewed by our legal counsel before it's implemented.
And again, one thing I want to share, if my memory serves me right, we have our board teachers, CMEA president here. I think she has some concerns and she voiced that.
She did. One of the
About
discussions
the
came up
voice over
with
IP.
making sure that we got the information out to our parents. And I'm hearing the second part of that is we need to make sure we get it out on the school reach to make sure that they're hearing it. We have it out on websites. We have it, I think we even put it out on the Facebook page, but we will make sure that it's known. And we will continue to have the nice picture up there that shows it's kind of like broken, but we'll get through that. We'll get through this and we'll get this done as quickly as we can.
If we're going to encourage them to reach out a different way, I don't know if calling the school office is going to be the best way because that might overwhelm our office staff. Maybe we should encourage them to send an email.
Well, they're not getting emails either.
No emails.
The emails are still working.
Well,
They
not
should be.
according to some teachers. So I
Okay.
don't know if
Well,
people are.
I just
let
don't
me
want
know
our
if there's an
staff
issue about the
overwhelmed taking
emails.
messages.
We have voicemail issues. I have heard of no email issues.
But I don't think, well, just
That
my
leads to
opinion,
segue to our
why would
technical
they be
expert.
overwhelmed? But we're in a crisis, so we're overwhelmed. Parents are overwhelmed. You need to be able to call somebody, and that office is the streamline to where we can reach. I don't know that we're overwhelming anyone. We have 2 to 3 secretaries in any given office. Somebody should be able to answer the phone
We have
if
both.
there's an issue.
We have both options down as you know, so that you can call the office or you can send us an email.
Well,
We
let's
will react
Make
either
sure
way.
the
React there.
email is
Just from
working
a-
because it wasn't working.
Okay, just
Okay.
from a
I'll check.
She
technical
told me
aspect,
she didn't get any of them.
you're not going to get away with not speaking, Director. Okay, you waited 2 board meetings and we're going to give you 2 minutes to speak on a technical aspect. Where are we? I hear a lot of jargon going
For the
on.
record, people
Absolutely.
calling the office.
Um,
I don't
so-
buy that. No way are you so overwhelmed that you can't pick up the phone.
In the interim of us actually replacing or upgrading the system, the procedures that we do have in place are to use our Google Voice, which basically gives all of our teachers the ability to access their voicemails from a cloud basis primarily. In essence, they can actually access their voicemails through their email. There's a text to email that they can retrieve outside of the district. So we've actually been going literally classroom to classroom throughout the actual district, installing the Google Voice to all of the individual teachers. We're still in the middle of that process now. The majority of the high school is complete. We're working on the elementary and the middle schools currently, so that all of our teachers have access to voicemails, not only throughout the actual inside of the actual district, but wherever they are. The emails we're on a Google platform, so they aren't even housed here actually inside of the district. So all of our actual educators have access to their emails. So they are not even on the same platform as they were before. So they have access to the emails. This is why we actually have advised all of our actual teachers or the community to contact the teachers via the email address until this issue is resolved. We're currently in the process of, again, replacing the actual equipment that has experienced challenges and installing it from primarily the right way, for lack of for more antiquated terminology. So this is a process, and it is an expensive one, but this is the most responsible actual action that we could take while actually replacing this voice over IP system, because there's more intricate details that are concerning the actual voice over IP than just the voicemails. This is a system that is used throughout our complete telephony process. So this is not just the actual voicemails that we're talking about. We're talking about actually using telephone systems throughout the district as well. So all of those actual features are intertwined in the same actual project. This is why it became such a costly project itself, because there's a lot of things that are entailed in it. And we had an option to either have the system to work or to fix it. And so we chose the responsible method of actually fixing the problem, so we won't have to revisit it again.
Okay, excellent. And then we're going to put the task on you, Superintendent, just to keep the board updated in your FYI on the progress. I know, again, in the Finance Committee, as part of the contract, their deliverables for us was stated as 8 weeks or more. We took that component out of there. So we need to really rush this as best as we could to mitigate the issues that we're dealing with.
Absolutely. Dr. Williams does an excellent job of hardlining dates.
Okay. Thank you.
Juan, I am going to reiterate my initial, oh, go ahead. What'd you say, Janine?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Miss.
She was asking for a specific date.
No, because we're still trying to finalize the contract, but I can assure you that I am being very aggressive with that process, and I should have a schedule within the next week of when we can anticipate installation.
And as
I
soon as
have been talking to them, I'm sorry, Mr. Cunningham.
No, it's my fault.
I have been talking to them regarding the equipment, and from what I understand, the equipment that we are getting is standard, and we shouldn't have any delays as it relates to ordering. So I am hopeful that once I give you that schedule, we will have it completed prior to that because of all of the prep work that we've done on the forefront of the project.
And what I was going to say was, as soon as they have our schedule, I will forward that to the board, either by email if it's email time, or in the FYI if it comes up at that time. You will have it.
As I stated, I'm going to reiterate, I do think we need to review. You told me 2 weeks ago that we were in the elementary schools. Wherever we are in the process, we need to know that. And then I'm not sitting here saying anything I think. I'm saying what was told to me specifically by teachers from buildings. That is that their emails are not working. So if they are working, somebody needs to go and assess and get some sort of approval from these individuals, because they either know if their system is working or they don't. To say to me that it doesn't work, and I'm saying it to you guys, there's a mix-up in communication. So I'm lucky enough to have asked the question, because I think it is pivotal that communication is, the right is wronged in this district. I applaud the Finance Committee for going back to address the financial component and hope that we can get moving. But there's a mix up of communication, because I followed the instructions that you said. I had the expectations that you had and forwarded emails and was told I'm not getting the information. That was last week. That was the week after speaking with your office. So does the teachers or staff members, whomever, office, do they have somewhere to communicate that no, my information, my phone system or my email is still not working? Who are they supposed to tell that to?
That should go to IT.
Okay. Well, so
And we haven't heard that, but we will go in and we'll check because we know there's some issue because somebody told you that.
not somebody, several people.
Somebody's
Right,
told you.
right.
Yeah, let's just see where we are, can build a paragraph, give us a problem statement, what we're doing, where we are, a schedule on completion. I know that might change a little bit here and there, but we need something. The board,
Yes, sir.
this is a sincere issue that we need to resolve. And we're going down the right path, but we need resolution to this and we need to have a action plan. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So your next FYI?
Yes, sir.
Which is this Monday coming up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions for our IT director?
Yeah, I have one question. When this is done, is this a permanent fix?
Yes, it is. And it's not only a permanent fix, but it also upgrades the actual, some of the network setups that the district actually were needing to have performed encompassed in this project. So to answer your question again, yes, it does correct the issue. It doesn't just fix it, it corrects it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good
I just have
news.
one little thing. I do know that previously, when I sent emails to anybody in the school district from my phone, it went to their spam or it did not appear. And I do know this because Dr. Harden and I had this conversation a while back. I had emailed him, waited, didn't hear from him. I called and he had not gotten it. And I sent from my phone and he found it in his spam when he did go looking for it. So I don't know if that has anything to do with what's going on, but it was anything that I sent from my phone was not going through at first to their direct email. I don't know if that's been corrected, if that was a glitch, what it was, but I just thought I would give you that little tidbit that did happen to me.
I can definitely look into that. But that's with regards to the email, that would definitely be something that I would need to look into further because to my understanding, we have no issues with our cloud-based our Gmail to date. So I would definitely need to get some more information regarding that issue.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Williams and IT Director Juan Lyle. Are you guys related? Oh, okay. Just thought thank you. All right. Any more old business? New business?
Did you
I was
have
gonna say
anything
motion
to
to
say
adjourn.
about the upcoming community forum? I know you said Mrs. Nash's delay, there's a delay
A little bit. Yes,
in
ma'am.
return. But I heard last month's meeting, are we still have we decided a format? There was some discussion about how we did it last time, and I even heard that there was some we just picked over the comments. We're still going to have we decided how we will extract information via the website, how people will be able to funnel questions in one way or the other?
No, ma'am, we had not made a decision, but I can get to work on that and have something out to us in the FYI for
Okay.
questions to make sure that you'd have a chance to look at the draft and then I can take input. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, thank you, Board Member Sanders, for being so passionate on the community forum. And you and Board Member Teray is still the community liaison. Is that correct?
Mr. Ray, he left me, so he put me with, he dumped me. He put me with Janine.
We can make up now.
Okay, you guys just kiss and make up, okay? I won't tell anybody.
Whatever you need.
Kumbaya.
You had a spat.
Can we all just get along? All right. If no further new business issues, we have all our dates set for meetings, right? All of that's all set.
Yes, sir. We have not received any requests for any
Changes.
dates for our committee meetings. And
Okay.
the next FYI will have all of the, along with our end of the month board meeting, all of the new meetings for the month of October.
Okay, and we have another board meeting, memory serves me right, on the 29th? Okay. All righty. No other questions, no other concern. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
My board member,
Second.
Gilbert. And second by,
Second.
was that you, Mr. Teray?
Yes.
No, that's
Yeah,
what.
anybody.
Janine, okay, you guys got to speak so I can
Okay.
document this. Moved by
Move.
Teray, who is seconding?
No, moved by
Janine moved
by
it.
Janine.
I seconded.
Janine and Teray.
Teray, second. All in favor, all in one vote, aye?
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.